Today we're going to talk about the importance of getting along with the club staff. What's up, everybody? ThaiRivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you hit the like button, comment, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. Here's what I wanted to talk about. The importance of getting along with the club staff. And I didn't specifically say comedy club staff because if your career ends up being anything like mine, you will work every kind of venue possible. So I think this is a perfect night for me to talk about this because I just finished doing the Backstop, which is in Boulder, which is about 30 minutes outside of Las Vegas. And I did a really cool spot there. I love that spot. A guy named Manfred is the one that runs it. And he runs it, I think he runs it with the bartender, Brad. I'm not 100% sure if they run it together. I know he and Brad are really cool. And me and Brad are really cool. And technically, Brad, the bartender, who also does comedy, was how I got booked for this particular night. Not too long ago, I showed up just to watch Angie Crumb and Kitty Pineapple were performing there. And I was like, let me go stop in and just say hi. And I just wanted to say hi. And then Brad, who, like I said, is a friend of mine, was there, and we said a quick hello. And then towards the end of the night, he was like, when are you back here? And I was like, I'm not sure. I haven't, really been in contact with Manfred about that. And Manfred just happened to be standing at the bar. And Brad was like, hey, Manny, when are you going to get tie up? And so, that's the way that worked out. And so I feel like this is the perfect time for me to talk about it, because I think a lot of times when comics think about doing comedy clubs or doing any kind of spot, they mainly think about their relationship with the booker, their relationship with the owner of the club. They usually think of those as like the higher ups. But what nobody really pays attention to is once you've been doing this for a while, you'll notice that at comedy clubs specifically, a lot of times the people you deal with that are the servers, if they hang out, if they hang around, continue to work at the venue, eventually a lot of times they'll end up being the bookers. I've even seen sometimes where they end up coming into some money or saving some money and investing in a comedy club or investing in the comedy club they work for. This is not at all uncommon. Like, a lot of people have seen people that started off as servers move their way up and be very influential within the club that they're working for, or at another club. Or sometimes the servers will end up being agents. That's something I've seen happen, especially in LA. Also, they'll end up being producers. I've seen that happen. Also, they'll end up working for different, like, there was one particular server that ended up working for Last Comic Standing, and she ended up booking me for some stuff. And so that can be very, very beneficial in a comedy career. There's the fact that you just want to be nice to the servers anyway. I mean, I've always had friends in the service industry. So, like, for me, that's always been just a natural thing. The other thing is the comedy club servers a lot of times will stay consistent. And so even if they don't end up deciding to move into other positions and just stay servers, a lot of times they're the ones that'll make you feel comfortable when you get there. They're the ones that'll make you feel at home. They're the ones that will remember what it is you drink. Or like with me, I am a lot of times on a special diet. And so I'll have the servers a lot of times be like, so you're still doing low carb? So you want celery sticks? And like, it sounds silly. And yeah, they do rib me about it a little bit, but it really does help me out a lot. And it makes me feel even more comfortable and even more at home. Sometimes if you want to know what's cool to do in town, they're the ones to ask. Sometimes if you want to go out after the club, like, I don't party anymore, but in years past, I used to party, and a lot of times it would be with the servers from the club. So having good relationships with the servers, with the staff, is really, really good. Also, when it comes to the promotional people, and I'll just throw this in really quick, even though right now I'm talking about kind of the servers and stuff like that. A lot of times when you get booked to do shows, if you're doing like an off night, sometimes they won't be the quickest to promote about that. But if you ask the booker or whoever you're dealing with, who the person that handles, like, the publicity for the club is, and then you get in contact with that person, they give you their contact information. Sometimes they'll give you like a so-so, like lukewarm type response, but then when you're like, okay, what publications can I get in touch with locally? What newspapers do you have relationships with? What blogs do you know of that I can, like, sometimes if you really show initiative and you really put yourself out there like that, and you're talking to the person that's in charge of promoting for the club, sometimes they'll get a fire lit under them and be like, hey, this person is really trying to make this happen right now. Let me give them all the information I can possibly give them. And so when they start off lukewarm, don't think that that's necessarily where they are. It's just sometimes comics go in there and think, okay, I'm just going to do this Thursday, or I'm just going to do this Sunday, and I don't really care how it goes. I'm getting a guarantee versus deal, so I'm guaranteed to make this much money anyway. Like, I always want to crack the guarantee and get the verses, which if you don't know how that works out, we'll talk about it one day, but it's very clearly what it is. It's a guarantee of a certain amount, and then that's versus a percentage of the door. And so I always want to get to the verses and not just stay at the guarantee. Does that always happen? No. But does it happen enough? Yes. Because I really do try to do everything I can to promote my shows. And like I said, working in conjunction with the person that's in charge of that, sometimes I'll really, get them to get excited about it. And they'll be like, this guy really cares about what he's doing right now. Let me help him out. And they'll be like, hit up this person, check this person out. So that's what I was going to say as far as that goes. As far as having contentious relationships, though, with the staff, with the servers especially, don't do that. Under no circumstances should you be shitty with the servers. It doesn't really matter what you think about their personalities or whatever. Don't do it, because what you don't know is that at a lot of clubs, when they're getting ready to start booking people again, they'll actually check in with the servers and be like, the servers will have some say in like who they think was cool, who didn't give them a hard time, wasn't trying to fuck the waitresses. I mean, that is more common and more annoying for a lot of people. I wouldn't say to completely never try to flirt or anything like that, because I have seen where servers have married. I've seen even bookers marry comics. But servers have ended up married to, with kids, having with comedians. And so it's, read the room though. Really do pay attention. And if it's a no, it's a no. You do not want to push that. You do not want to make anybody uncomfortable on their job. So keep that in mind as well. When it comes to free food, like a lot of times, that's the other thing. A server can choose to either charge you for a soda or just give you a soda. Sometimes there's just policy, and sometimes it's within the server's discretion. So if the server, you have a good relationship with the server and they just want to bring you a soda, or you ask for a soda and they don't want to charge you for it, then that's great. And some of you might think like a club would actually charge me for a soda. Believe me, I had a thing where the club tried to charge me for a bottle of water. And that one, I let the club know how I felt about that situation, because that was absolutely classless. But never mind that. That is my road. And yeah, but sometimes they do. Sometimes you get free food at a club. Sometimes it's something like, I know one club, it was like 40% off or maybe 60% off the food, which that doesn't really make sense to me, but it doesn't have to make sense to me. As long as the check clears, as long as they're paying me to headline the club, it's petty, but whatever. I'm not going to question anybody's business model. Maybe some people feel like they need to charge everybody for fried pickles. But yeah, a lot of places I perform, the food is free. But free food doesn't mean that you don't tip out. I always make sure to tip the server well. This is a place that I'm pretty generous, just because I feel like life is good to me, which for some people, I know not everybody can afford that, because a lot of people are just making feature money and it's not, the most feasible. But in this situation, it really is a thought that counts situation. Like, if you tip the server something, and don't be insulting about it, at least tip something. That's what I'm going to say. And do what you can afford to do. Be as nice as you can afford to be. Remember that the servers are there to make money. And so, yeah, maybe the club has told you that you're going to get free food or whatever like that. But that doesn't mean you can't just kick them at least a 5 or something like that. You're going to spend more than that at the Denny's afterwards if they hadn't fed you for free at the club, and that's what it is. Also, when you're making your way through the club, try to be mindful of the fact that if you're not on your way to the stage, and even if you are on your way to the stage, move out of the server's way. If you're coming one way and the server's coming the other way, don't turn it into a thing where the server now has to change their direction to do what they have to do. It takes nothing but a second for you to move out of the way, let the server go by, because in a lot of cases, let's be 100% honest about it, unless you're packing that club out, the way that club is making money is through the servers, through the food and drink that they're selling at the club. And so that's how they're making the money for you. So the easier you can make that for the server, for them to do their job, the better off everybody's going to be, the better off your reputation is going to stay. So that's one thing I would definitely tell you as well. And don't be overly demanding prima donna with them, because I have very particular orders when it comes to my food, and I don't mean orders like I'm ordering people around. I mean like my order is very particular. So a lot of times it's like, I want grilled, I don't want croutons, I don't want like certain things. I try to make that as easy for the server as possible, and I'm as pleasant about it as I can possibly be. And if I get told no to anything, then it's cool. I'll just pick the croutons out myself. But I haven't really had people give me a hard time about that kind of stuff. Usually I'm able to say everything politely enough and be as low maintenance as I possibly can be in ordering it, that everybody's cool with what I'm asking for. And they might be a little bit like, you are crazy. Like, I can't believe that this is the way you eat. Like, I'll get that kind of stuff all the time, but I get that in regular life. So for me, that's not really a thing. But yeah, that would be what I would say, is just like really, really be mindful of the way you treat the servers and the bar staff. And, if you feel like the servers at a particular place or the bartenders at a particular place aren't supportive of the show and aren't supportive of what you're doing, because it should be reciprocal in that way. And most places I found it really is. Most places you're kind of in a team with the servers. And I know a lot of comics maybe don't always see it that way in the beginning, but for me, I've seen it that way from the beginning, from when I first started, because it's their job to make sure the club's making money. It's my job to make sure people are having a good time, give them an excuse to order drinks, give them an excuse to have some food. I do shout out the servers a lot of times where I'll let them know, hey, tip your guys' servers, and it's cheesy to say and it's cliche, but the tip your guys' servers, they're working hard for you, doesn't hurt to do that, or give it up for the servers every once in a while, just to remind people, let's take care of the servers. They're taking care of you. I sometimes throw jokes into it, where it's not the one she's having my kid or she's having my babies right now, or, I've heard that a million times, like comics being like, tip your servers, they have 3 kids, and I know because I'm the father, or okay, whatever, but I'm so judgmental in certain ways, but it is what it is. But, every once in a while to just give it up for your servers, remind people to pay their servers, because their servers really are taking care of them in most cases. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. And yeah, I can't impress enough just how much you want to make sure that you're good to the servers. And like I said, stay out of their way, let them do what they have to do. If they're busy sometimes and they can't take care of you, remember that you're working for the club too. And so the customer comes first in that situation. So if they have stuff that they have to take care of, because a lot of times the green room server is not just a designated green room server. Like a lot of times the green room server has an entire section that he or she is working at the same time as taking care of the green room. So they're trying their best to make it back to you. They're trying their best to be attentive. But if it comes between actually making money for the club on the floor and getting tipped well, or making sure that the comedians get to eat for free and get their free drinks. Also, don't bring a million of your friends because, you've been told that you're getting free food or there's free food in the green room. I've seen that happen with comics on a bigger level too, where they've had so many people in the green room, like entourage style, that the club came in and was like, yeah, we're not feeding all these people steak. That's one thing I saw happen once, where it was just like, and the entourage was a little bit perturbed because now they were going to have to pay for their stuff after they had ordered a bunch of food and drinks. But that just should have been common sense. I don't know how it wasn't, but anyway, that's what I would say. Let me know if I left anything out or if you guys think that there's something else I should be talking about on the next episode. I do appreciate you guys' likes, comments, and views, and the people that have subscribed, I definitely do appreciate that too. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.